Hey guys, welcome back. This is Redneck-Alcatraz, and I've got another reaction for you. This time we're going with Miracle of Sound, which I've been following him for quite a while. I love a lot of his music. I'm gonna have to do some other reactions to some of his stuff. He just released, like within the last few days, a new song, but well, technically it's not a new song. His song Valhalla Calling has been out for a while. But for this new one, he's partnered up with Peyton Parrish, um, who I randomly came across on Instagram. I'd never heard of him before, never seen any of his stuff, and it was actually an advertisement for this song. And I was like, ooh, 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 I already like this song. Now we're adding a new voice to it? Yes, 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 yes. Um, So I was very excited, and I've been eagerly awaiting for this one to come out. And I knew as soon as it did, I'd have to do a reaction to it. Unfortunately, I couldn't restrain myself from watching it, so this is not a first viewing, unseen, and then reacting to it. This is sadly I've already listened to it. Like, okay, yeah, I listened to it a few times. It's good. Um, Now I'm gonna share it with y'all, my reaction. So like usual, we're gonna do a complete playthrough uninterrupted with me muted, and then I'll go over it a little bit. Then we're gonna go back through it again. This time, pointing out and saying things. I don't know how much I'm actually gonna say and go over. We'll see. Most of this, I just go with the flow, unless it's like one I've researched before or I know the history of. Um, like I will mention, Valhalla Calling is based off of the newest in the Assassin's Creed line. So, well, it, if you already know the song, you already know what this is about. So, time for me to shut up. Let's get into the music so we can get going with this and then enjoy the music and mute.
Ships on vigor of the waves of skimming, barren summits to the verdant blaze. Each horizon is a new beginning, rise and reign. Far from the fjords and the ice-cold currents, ravens soar over new frontiers. Songs and sagas of a weighty German, shields and spears. Vows of favor or the thrill of plunder, pulled together for the clan and kin. Clank of hammers and the crash of thunder, pound within. Oh, oh, the echoes of eternity. Oh, oh, Valhalla calling me. To pluck the strings of destiny. Oh, Valhalla calling me. Valhalla calling me. Sails are swaying on the crimson rivers, blood and glory in the fighting fields. Shields are shattering to splintered timbers, iron and steel. Fires are rising and the bells are ringing. Glory take us into Odin's halls. Golden glimmer and the sound of singing as God falls. The echoes of eternity. Valhalla calling me. To pluck the strings of destiny.
Okay. That was awesome in so many ways. You could tell they both kind of immersed themselves into the music. Um, each one in a different way. Peyton really just gets hyped up and really into it versus I think his name's Gavin. Miracle of Sound. He just he immerses himself into the music and the song and just lets it flow. So it's like two different levels of immersion, and they both just bring their own power to it. And it's just the song was already very good. It was very good. Adding Peyton Parrish's voice to this, I think, took it to a new level. Um, the history of the Norse and the Vikings is a very interesting one. In many ways, they were like I think they were the most successful maritime uh raiders and warriors in the world. Because if you look at other civilizations and their ability to travel the seas and go places, um there's very few. I think there's literally two other major civilizations that were as at the same level, or if not higher, than the Norse when it came to seafaring, and that is, I believe, it was the Maori out in the Pacific, and the Phoenicians, which, to my knowledge, nobody's really been able to really pin down where they've been, other than all over the place. Um, but I mean, people know about the Vikings of like, oh, they went raiding and pillaging in like the North Sea area of northern Europe and Scandinavia. That's not all. There is historical proof that they went around Europe into the Mediterranean, all along North Africa, and all the way over to the Middle East and Macedonia, Arab world, all of Arabia, all of that. They've been in through there. They came down through the river systems into Central Europe and even into like Russia. In fact, there was a section of them called the Rus, which sounds a lot longer than it is because it's literally RUS. Now think of that. Now look at various places in Eastern Europe. The Rus, Russia, Russia, Belarus. There's several other places that literally carry part of the name. Whether that was intentional or not, I don't know. But they had an effect all over Europe, into Asia, and into Africa. In fact, there's a bunch of old movies about it. There's one that essentially deals with the Moors of Northern Africa, and th- they end up fighting the Vikings. 13th Warrior with Antonio Banderas talks about is a story about him playing an Arab who travels with some of these guys, and they go back north, and he goes with them. He gets to experience their way of life from the view of an outsider. So they are a very interesting people, and there's a lot more to them than just the Viking aspect, which is the raiding and the raiding aspect. All right, I need to shut up about history because I mean, if y'all don't know about me, yes, I am a nerd. I love history and the historical aspects and the stories behind the music. Obviously, the story behind this song is it's about Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which is obviously Assassin's Creed and the Norse. Um, but let's shut up on that. Let's get back to the song and go over parts of this. There's some interesting references in here that I love, and I don't know if people caught them. Those who really know, probably I don't even need to say this. Some of you might not. I love how he's dressed.
Ships on
He
bigger other
gets really
ways
into
of
character.
scamming, barren summits to the verdant plains. Each horizon is a new beginning. Rise and reign. Far from the fjords and the ice-cold currents, ravens soar over new frontiers. Songs and sagas of a fate determined, shields and spears.
Okay. The reference to the raven is Odin's ravens. Uh, one, uh, Muninn and, it's gonna bother me because I researched this a while back. I don't remember the second one. It's gonna bother me endlessly. I'll put it in the description when I find it. But the two of them, if I remember correctly, their names roughly translate to memory and knowledge. Um, but they were they were seen as like in many ways his messengers, or if you saw them, it meant he was watching in many ways. Shields and spears, yes. Also axes. And occasional swords.
Destiny. Valhalla calling me.
Okay. For those who really don't know, Valhalla was a place that the Norse believed that when they died a warrior's death, an honorable warrior's death, they would go to Valhalla, which was Odin's hall. It was a place that you would be taking to the afterlife, where you would live out the rest of your existence feasting and fighting. You would literally feast and fight, and the next day do it all over again. It didn't matter. The fights were not sparring fights, they were battle. And this would be your existence until Ragnarok came, at which point the doors of Valhalla would open and the warriors would go out to fight on the side of the gods against the giants, because it was the final war that would result in the destruction of the world. And they were the honorable warriors, the greatest, to get a place there and to then fight once more again against the greatest foe imaginable.
Valhalla calling me.
Look up the history, it's amazing.
Sails are swaying on the crimson rivers, blood and glory in the fighting fields. Shields are shattering to splintered timbers, iron and steel. Fires are rising and the bells are ringing. Glory take us into Odin's hall.
Glory take us in sorry. Glory take us into Odin's halls. The glorious and victorious, the honorable, the great warriors would get their place there.
Golden glimmer and the sound of singing as God falls. The echoes of eternity.
Asgard was the land of the gods. Those who don't know. So, okay, for those of you who also haven't seen any of the Marvel movies involving Thor and Asgard, boom, there's a depiction of Asgard with the rainbow bridge that connects to the various realms. This is the realm of the gods, Asgard, in which Valhalla, Odin's hall, resides. And then, of course, you got one of his ravens. probably gonna have to get and play this game at some point. It's not a style of game I really play much. Well, I'm probably gonna have to get it and play it at some point, just because it's.
Wind and the waves will set me free. Wind and the waves will carry me. Wind and the waves will set me free. The echoes of eternity. Valhalla calling me.
Okay, I have to go back. I'm enjoying the song, but there's also bits of this I have to go back and actually look at. So, okay, this document, war, there will be war. If I remember historically, there was a time when, yes, the Vikings and the Norse through the Vikings did start more than a few wars. There were also a few times where they did not start the war. There was a case, I think it was in England. Many of the Norse had settled on the northern side of England and were living there, but they were attacked by the English, who wanted them gone. At that point, a state of peace had existed between the two until the English started the war. And apparently, and this is I haven't done much research on this, but they started in such a way that really, really pissed them off. Um, Now the Norse have held many different names. Um, Across the eras, it's like we call them the Norse, but we also call them Vikings. But Vikings was not the name of the people. Viking was like those were referred to the warriors who went out a Viking or raiding or fighting. Uh, so that wasn't the what they were themselves were called. But depending on where they came from, they were held different names. Like the Norse is what we generally refer to all of them, but the Rus were a group. I think the Danes were another, and there were different groups of them. And there were times where people started some stuff, and kind of all of them, like the various clans and such, basically went, "Oh, you want a war with all of us? Okay, let's go. Come on, guys." They were a To them, death in battle was seen as glorious and honorable. So saying is like, "We're gonna kill you on the battlefield." They're like, "Okay, try it. Let's go. Let's see how many of you I can take with me." What? They had such a warrior mentality. Their culture did that it really messed with people. Like for a lot of people, it's like, "Oh, we're gonna assemble an army," and they just assemble it out of conscripts and peasants and these people who are people who live for war. They were in many ways a warrior culture. Picking a fight with them was generally a bad idea. It's also why they were very good at raiding. Their maritime warfare, they were some of the best. And they also operated as mercenaries sometimes too. So they were a warrior culture. There will be war. Starting a war with these guys was not a good idea. Was not. Because Valhalla is calling.
To look the strings of destiny. Valhalla calling me. Valhalla calling me.
I have to go back and watch some trailers for this game. So it's just so good. Peyton just gets really into it. Yeah, Valhalla Calling, the song was originally just on its own very, very good, and I very much enjoyed it. Adding Peyton's voice to this just add a whole new level to it. It's great. I think I like this better than the original. Not as much necessarily on the video side. I'm not. Miracle of Sound, when he does his stuff, he does all the audio himself and he pieces the video from like the game. Like in this case, Assassin's Creed Valhalla. As you saw, all the scenes were from there, and you had him and Peyton fading in and out. Normally, what he does is you don't see him, you just see the video, and his voice carries the meaning with the video. I like that better than the fading in and out, but the music is great. Um, I'm gonna have links to both these guys in the description, so definitely you're gonna want to check them out. Check out Miracle Sound and the original Valhalla Calling. Check out his other stuff. I'm gonna have to do one on his Doom song and a couple of his other ones. He's on my list of people I need to do more of because his music is that really good. I really do love it, and I don't think enough people know about it, which is why I'm gonna do reviews on it and reactions. Peyton Parrish, I'm probably gonna have to look at some of his other stuff too, because I like his voice. From what I've seen for just like some of his shorts on Instagram, it's really good because he does some of it. He does it's almost all in English, but he's done a couple where he brings out like old Norse. He bring There's one that's um it's Italian and I don't know how to say it without actually looking at it, but he does part of it in Italian. I don't know if there's actually a full song of that out. I'll have to look. Along with some of his other stuff, I'm gonna have to look into that, and then I'll probably end up doing more of him. So check out Miracle of Sound. Check out Peyton Parrish. Uh, do their stuff. Um, I'm running a little long on time, so I'm gonna cut. I'm not gonna mention the usual YouTuber nonsense. Um, Drop me some comments. Give me some recommendations. Check out their stuff, and I will see y'all next time.